Hello founders! In this sprint, we'll be diving into the MVP options for digital product founders who don't have a technical background. We'll explore how some big brands originated from the most minimal starting points, and then get stuck into the pros and cons of different ways to build an early version of your product, specifically for those who don't have a background in software development. This week, we'll hear the wisdom of Louise Broney-Menser, founder of Shubes, an online event ticketing platform suited to your tastes.
To start, a reminder of what we mean by a minimum viable product. Something with just enough features to be usable by early customers who can provide feedback for future development. The key to this development approach is that early adopters can envisage or recognize the potential of the final product and provide valuable feedback to guide you forward. Your focus will be to observe users as they engage with your MVP. This will provide much richer insights than asking your customers for their opinion through questionnaires or interviews. For Rob Bailey, Director of Product at Roman, the objective is simple. Identify the most valuable problem you can solve for the market. Ship something that validates how right or wrong you are, rinse and repeat. The something that validates how right or wrong you are is the MVP. Over the coming weeks, we'll be selecting different MVP types, from straightforward sketches or wireframes right the way through to fuller imitations of your final product. The spirit here is always the same, no matter what stage of product development you're at. Build just enough to learn the next most important thing. So as always, your risky assumptions should drive what you do. Earlier this module, we discovered some techniques for understanding the feature set of your MVP. We learnt from Dan Olson about ways to identify important and underserved customer needs. And we discovered how the Kano model can help to identify features that provide a higher order emotional response from our customers. And we've shaped our understanding of performance features and delighter features. You should now have a clear view of the initial scope of your product, those features rolled in or out of your thinking. The first version of your technical MVP will be a stripped back version of that scope, the critical features that will deliver maximum value, or perhaps a very specific part of your product where you have high levels of uncertainty. Whichever features you decide to prioritize, your product should clearly communicate the core functionality and how the product will solve the user's problem. Here is an image you've definitely seen before that illustrates the importance of delivering value with each iteration. The first set of images below show how the first 3 iterations neither provide user value nor communicate the end vision for how the product will solve a problem, getting from A to B. On the other hand, the second set of images below shows that each step gets the job done. Over time, the job gets done better and faster, which aligns with the expectations of the user. Now, let's explore some successful MVP examples to help you understand how other companies have built their MVPs. We'll be exploring 3 examples of companies that started with a minimum viable product and went on to achieve great success. Our first example is Groupon. Groupon is an e-commerce platform that provides subscribers with travel deals, goods and services from local merchants at discounted rates. But did you know that their MVP was a simple WordPress site that collected a large email list of registered customers? Visitors subscribed to the site and received a series of coupons in PDF format. Groupon used these leads to generate revenue and only then built a proper back-end voucher system. This makes their primary website an excellent example of a minimum viable product for entrepreneurs looking to test their ideas with minimal investments. Next up, Amazon Prime. Even a gigantic company like Amazon stripped everything right back when testing their Prime product in the early days. When Amazon was considering launching Prime, the leadership team conducted a test that many people may consider unthinkable. First, they gathered a bunch of Uber drivers and loaded packages in their cars, coordinating same-day delivery. They promised the drivers to keep them busy for a few days, which created word of mouth and prompted even more drivers who wanted to have a steady flow of drives pre-booked. In that way, Amazon managed to test the impact of same-day deliveries without investing in expensive equipment, significant logistic changes, or going through partnerships with third-party platforms that may take months to materialize. Finally, one of the clearest examples of an MVP breakthrough is provided by Airbnb. In 2007, Brian Chesky and Joe Gebbia noticed an opportunity to use private homes as an overflow for hotels and rentals, specifically in response to a big conference that was being held in San Francisco and a shortage of accommodation in the area. They planned to offer air mattresses in their front room, Wi-Fi, and a complimentary breakfast for guests. The idea was simple enough, but the concept was massively uncertain. Would people trust a relative stranger and pay money to stay in their home? The MVP was a simple landing page with pictures of the apartment, a price, and contact details. We love the example because the founders built the minimal possible product to prove out their riskiest assumption, that people would trust a stranger and pay to stay in their home. As a non-technical founder, you have 4 main options for building your MVP. While these are the most common ways, you can use a combination of these methods or learn to code yourself. 1. Hire a technical lead or co-founder who will help you build the product. 2. Hire a freelancer or more to build the product on your behalf. 3. Hire a software development house to build the product on your behalf. And 4. Build the product yourself using low code or no code. Let's take a look at the advantages and disadvantages of each option. Hiring a lead developer or CTO has several benefits. If you hire the right person, they'll be able to understand the context of your market, share and understand your vision, and offer clear, impartial advice. Whereas a freelancer or development house will be motivated to secure as much business as possible. An in-house technical lead would have an aligned set of priorities. For example, the need to maximize learning and minimize any expense in building out unnecessary code. You can outsource everything technical to them and focus on the business side of your startup. However, hiring a technical lead or co-founder has some cons as well. It can be hard to find and recruit the right person unless you have relevant people in your personal network or experience of hiring technical people in the past. Most likely, the person will be quite expensive if they're any good. In the case of a co-founder, you should expect to give a lot of equity away. If you decide to take this route, consider who in your network can offer a recommendation or could help you design questions and or assessments to test the technical capability of the candidate. Choosing a co-founder is the most critical decision you will take. Don't rush the decision just because you're impatient to get on with building your MVP. Hiring a freelancer is relatively easy via platforms like Upwork and TopTail. Using the platform will also allow you to compare prices, ratings, and projects that they have worked on without the need for in-depth interviews. It's also much more affordable compared to the cost of hiring a development house, an in-house developer, or a co-founder. However, there are some cons to hiring a freelancer. Most likely, the freelancer will work across multiple projects, and your project may not be a priority for long. Accountability can be an issue. If the freelancer disappears for whatever reason, it could be difficult or impossible for another developer to come in and continue using the same code. It is also unlikely that you would get a freelancer motivated in the same way as an in-house developer or co-founder. It's probably worth noting that truly great developers rarely work as freelancers and more often will have highly paid jobs. Hiring a dev house has several advantages. Development houses are established businesses that are more dependent on recommendations and reviews than freelancers. You should expect a higher standard of service than a freelancer. Many development houses will have a wider variety of skills, such as user experience design, user interface design, front and back-end developers, and testing. You should expect a full stack service that should stretch beyond even the most talented freelancer. However, there are also some cons to hiring a development house. Most notably, it will be expensive. There is much less motivation for a development house to scope out and recommend the minimal amount of work needed to progress when they are paid an hourly, daily, or monthly rate. Like a freelancer, the dev house would likely be working on multiple projects alongside yours, and it will again be difficult to force an understanding of your project's context. No or low code refers to digital tools designed for non-technical makers to build software applications without using any code. The platforms rely on only simple drag and drop tools. Most digital businesses have the same basic functionality requirements, such as creating a listing, communicating between users, and handling services and transactions. So a basic MVP scope should be more than covered. Using low or no code tools can be a great way to save time and money. There are several more advantages to using these tools, including full control of the user experience, affordability, and a high velocity of shipping. Plus, they're easy to learn, which means you can gradually understand more complex tech as you go along. There are clear benefits to using low or no code tools, but there are also some downsides to consider. Whilst many tools provide straightforward ways to create standard website and product features, more complicated or nuanced products will require customizations that would need the support of a developer. Another issue could come further down the line, as migrating to a different no-code tool or programming language is a challenge. As you won't have access to the source code, you would likely have to start again from scratch and re-platform.
Building an MVP requires you to focus on solving one valuable problem for your customers. You need to prioritize features that deliver value and validate your assumptions through testing. Remember, your MVP should be functional and solve one thing well. As you iterate and improve, you will be able to deliver more value to your customers and achieve your success. Pick one key problem to solve that will answer a big, risky assumption. Make sure the first version of your MVP communicates clearly how the product will solve the problem. Draw on your personal network for technical support. Even if there's no one suitable for your build, someone might help you recruit. At the very least, have a look at some no-code tools to understand whether you can make the first steps towards your MVP yourself. Build a product that delivers the minimum necessary happiness to grow and retain users. Thank you all, and good luck with building your MVP.